I move to terminate the contract of the Superintendent Tim Wilder, effective immediately.
After a more than 2.5-hour executive session, the Dothan City School Board fires Tim Wilder. We have reaction. Good afternoon, everyone. Also, foul play is suspected in Thursday night's fire. We have the latest on the investigation. Nate?
Thanks a lot, Reg. Cold Arctic air is here, and this morning temperatures at or below freezing in some spots, and I think we get even colder for tomorrow night. We'll have more on the forecast in a few minutes.
From your hometown news leader, this is WTVY News 4 at 5.
He said, I had the wildest dream last night.
Tori Etheridge goes into graphic detail during Tim Wilder's termination hearing. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Reginald Jones.
And I'm Natasha Chugtai. Thank you for joining us for News 4 at 5. After nearly 3 hours of deliberation, Tim Wilder no longer has a job with the Dothan City School System.
News 4's Cynthia Washington spent the day at the Dothan City School Board meeting. She joins us live from outside the Dothan City School Board office to begin our team coverage with highlights from today's termination hearing. Cynthia?
Natasha, the day was filled with tears, shouting, and some confusion as Dothan attorneys presented their case in front of the Dothan City School Board. Now, for nearly 6 hours, suspended Superintendent Tim Wilder sat there waiting to hear his fate. That was just before the board made their unanimous decision to terminate his contract. Things began with opening statements from the school board's attorney, Jerry Segrest. He submitted some documents as he talked about the severity of the issue at hand. Tim Wilder's attorney, Ed Price, moved to dismiss the hearing, saying that the alleged victim, Tori Etheridge, waited too long to file the case. The board disregarded the motion and the hearing began. But Segrest did not call any witnesses, resting on the strength of the evidence he provided to the board. Price's first witness was Personnel Director Todd Weitz. He testified about getting the first complaint from Tori Etheridge on October 17th. 2 days later, she submitted an email resigning. Wilder was then called to the stand. Segrest asked Wilder about statements mentioned in a sworn affidavit by Etheridge. He denied doing anything wrong. And when sexting was brought up, things got a little confusing.
Would you call this sex testing or sexting?
Then Segrest pressed Wilder about text messages he allegedly sent to Etheridge, and things got a little heated.
You want to talk about character, Mr. Segrest?
Segrest also brought up messages between Wilder and a former Dothan Education Foundation employee.
Over to your house to come over and drink with you before the fire.
I didn't say that anyone invited her to drink, Jay. Those are your words. No. I said that I was drinking by a fire.
Wilder replied,
And what I do in my private life is none of your business.
After testimony from 2 other witnesses, the board was about to go into executive session when board members asked to hear from Etheridge, and she was brought in to testify. Etheridge spent nearly an hour on the stand, detailing a graphic phone call from Wilder on September 8th. She also said the evidence presented to the board was incomplete.
Well, there's a lot of things that are missing out of here. There's a lot.
Price kept asking Etheridge why she would text a man that was harassing her.
He was my boss. I just felt like I needed to keep my job.
After Etheridge's testimony, the board went into executive session. Nearly 3 hours later, Wilder was out of a job. Dothan City School Board Attorney Jerry Segrest says this is the first time during his tenure that a superintendent has gone through this type of proceeding. Reg and Natasha.
Cynthia, thanks a lot. Now, Wilder was suspended, you might recall, by the school board on October 27th. It was a testimony full of tears. It began as the board called the system's public relations coordinator and grant writer to testify.
News 4's Courtney Crown had a close-up view of the questioning. She continues our team coverage in the studio with a recap. Courtney?
Reg, Natasha, Tori Etheridge was emotional as she recalled the controversial relationship she shared with her boss, Superintendent Tim Wilder. As one text after another was displayed, Etheridge held on to her word that she wanted to do what she felt was best for her family. Just as the witness testimonies ended and the board made a move for executive session, Harry Wayne Parrish requested the testimony and cross-examination of former DCS Public Relations Coordinator and grant writer Tori Etheridge.
When I decided that it was either going to be my job or my family, and I chose my family.
Etheridge says the inappropriate texting began just 2 days after her July 22nd start date with Dothan City Schools. She didn't tell any of her superiors of the misconduct because she says she didn't want to jeopardize her job.
I told them I was honest. I didn't want any other woman to have to get hurt. I did the right thing. I'm a young woman with a family. I did what I had to do.
She told the director of personnel on October 17th when she says she didn't see the harassment ending.
All you had to do was go report it.
I did. I decided that the pressure was not going to stop, so I did report it.
Etheridge says even if she didn't report right away, she did tell other people.
I confided in my preacher's wife and in my husband almost immediately, and we were trying to work through it so I could keep my job. It was a great opportunity for my family, and it was stripped away.
The testimony intensified when Etheridge recalled Wilder explaining a dream he had involving a sexual encounter with Etheridge in a gas station bathroom.
He said he followed in behind me, and that he said, in his words, I ate that and you were screaming and hollering and loving it, and he said, but the weirdest thing is we didn't even.
This is something that Mr. Wilder said to you during business hours while you were employed here at Dothan City.
Yes, that is correct. And he also told me that when he woke from this dream that he could still.
The dream isn't the only time Etheridge says Wilder made blatantly inappropriate comments to her.
You just can't wait to lay my eyes on you. That was early one Monday morning, and then, man, I love those jeans.
After nearly an hour on the stand, Etheridge's testimony came to an end.
Mr. Speaker, have anything you wanted to follow up? No. Ms. Etheridge, you're dismissed. Thank you.
Segrist never questioned her, but his partner Kevin Walding did. We attempted to get an interview with Etheridge following Wilder's termination, but she declined to comment. Natasha?
All right, thanks, Courtney. Tim Wilder was flustered and upset following today's hearing.
We did catch up with him afterward, and he had some rather strong words for the school board.
My voice was heard today for about 1 hour. The other side has been heard for about 2.5 weeks, and that's unfair. And I think the board made the wrong decision. We certainly don't agree with it. So a lot of emotions right now with.
If you were not able to watch the hearing as it's streamed live on our web channel, we have posted the entire proceeding in the Tim Wilder termination hearing story on WTVY.com.
Switching gears now, I hope you're staying warm out there because those temperatures have really dropped.
I actually pulled out the long coat today,
yes.
Nate. I think it's pretty appropriate.
When Reg pulls out that long trench coat, you know things are getting cold. And they did. This morning, numbers fell below freezing in some spots, right at freezing in others. And today, never really got warmed up. Even though we saw a lot of sunshine, things just weren't that warm. 32 for the low today in Dothan. Right now, we're at 45. And temperatures only got into the low and middle 50s region-wide, and some spots didn't get out of the 40s this afternoon. I think we'll be a little bit warmer for tomorrow afternoon, but a little colder for tomorrow morning. Freeze warnings once again in effect. We'll go over those freeze warnings, talk about the 5-day forecast, which does feature a little bit more warmth and some rain too, but also big time cold coming up in just a few minutes, Natasha.
All right, thanks so much, Nate. The Dothan Police and Fire Departments are investigating a suspicious house fire that left 2 people dead. It happened at a home on Bunch Street last night. Because of gas lines inside and the advanced stage of the fire, it took firefighters several hours to get the flames under control. Battalion Chief Chris Etheridge says they quickly determined the fire was suspicious.
We did locate some evidence outside the home that would lead us to believe that a crime did occur. We are going to continue to follow not only that lead, but other leads we have. We do have other indicators that may lead us to a conclusion of this.
Officials can't confirm the identity of the victims yet. As the investigation continues, we will keep you updated. The Dothan Police Department continues to investigate a shooting that happened last night. Police say 2 people were shot in the leg around 7 o'clock on South Apple Tree Street. Investigators say the victims were approached by 2 suspects and both sides opened fire. Police say they don't know what led to the shooting. The 2 victims from the scene were treated for their injuries and released. A 3rd person believed to be involved in the shooting was treated for a gunshot wound at a local hospital a short time later. If you have any information, call the Dothan Police Department at 615-3000.
In political matters, more than 600 voters cast ballots in the wrong State House race last week. It happened at the Level Plains Community Center precinct. Instead of voting in the District 89 race between Alan Booth and Joel Lee Williams, voters were given ballots for the District 93 race. Now, Booth defeated Williams by less than 100 votes.
I think it's kind of ridiculous about what they're doing up here. Like, they got the wrong names and all. They're voting for the wrong people, and they're just basically wasting their time and wasting their gas coming up here and doing all that.
The Dale County votes were certified today. Williams has 20 days from November 24th to contest the outcome of the race. President Obama says he will take action before the end of the year to address the broken immigration system. The president says he's no longer willing to wait for Congress to pass immigration reform. But Republicans say the president going it alone will kill any chance for congressional action. The president could use this executive power to shield as many as 5 million undocumented immigrants from deportation. Republicans say all options are on the table to try and stop the president, even measures that could lead to another government shutdown.
Every administration needs this and needs that, needs all kinds of things. And, if he wants to go off on his own, there are things that he's just not going to get.
Allies in Congress are urging the president to wait until they pass a bill to keep the government running, but he says he'll act before the end of the year.
The great outdoors came inside the classroom for some Wiregrass students this week. That's ahead.
Also, we have less than an hour to deliver a miracle to a Wiregrass resident. A look at our journey in just a moment, but first, let's take a look at your Alpha Sky Cam. Today we're looking at the remnants of a beautiful sunset on this Friday afternoon. We're back in a moment. Stay with us.
You're watching News 4 at 5 with Reginald Jones, Natasha Chugtai, and meteorologist Nate Harrington.
WTVY and Solomon Chevrolet are on a mission to change lives. Every Friday this month, we're going to find a Good Samaritan, and with their help, hand over $500 to someone in need. Well, this week, News 4's Devin Sellers set out in Barber County, hoping to change someone's life.
60-Minute Miracles, sponsored by Solomon Chevrolet. 1 hour to change someone's life.
We drove to Clio without a plan, just a mission. Give someone $500. The first step, find someone to help. We drove through downtown without much luck. Then we spot a school, but it's empty. The school closed about a decade ago. But around the corner, we hit jackpot, the Clio Senior Center, and that's where we found Kathy Bragg. We do something called 60-Minute Miracle with WTVY, and we partner with Solomon Chevrolet, and they give us $500 cash, and I'm hoping that you or even someone here can help me find someone to give the money to.
Okay.
Kathy knows a lot of members at the center could use the extra cash. She wants input from her coworkers, so we head inside, hoping to narrow it down to one deserving person.
And tonight on News 4 at 6, find out who they recommended.
The Alabama Forestry Commission took its message to the classroom this week. Along with the Alabama Cooperative Extension System, the commission visited the 5th graders at Geneva County Elementary School. The students watched videos on wildfires and learned to be careful when lighting and putting out campfires.
A lot of good responses when we ask questions. It's kind of surprising how much they already know, but yeah, forestry is a big part of our area. Timber's a big industry.
Forestry days were also held in the Geneva City School System as well this week.
Well, if you were in the forest or anywhere else outside It feels more like January than mid-November, doesn't it?
It sure does.
Yeah, Nate's going to be back with a complete look at the forecast in just a moment.
Plus, think rolling down the car window while you're smoking keeps your passengers safe, a new study says. Think again. But first, here's a look at today's stocks.
And now, from the Forewarned Storm Center, meteorologist Nate Harrington.
Let's get right to it. Freeze warnings once again in effect for almost the entire Wiregrass. Pike and Barber County, I bet you, will be added by the Weather Service up in Birmingham later on tonight. But want to make sure everyone's got their cold weather prep in place. Last night we told you to do this, but let's write it on the screen for you. Bring in those pets that are outdoors. If the inside pets will be fine. Cover up those sensitive plants as well. It won't be cold enough for pipes to freeze, except probably north of here, as temperatures dip into the 20s for a prolonged period of time. But if you want to feel a little bit safer about it, go ahead and drip those outdoor pipes. But the inside ones underneath your home should be okay. So once again, freeze is in effect. After a little warm up in the middle of the 5-day forecast, we get cold once again for the beginning of next week. We'll detail it all here in a few minutes. Already in the low 40s, 42 in Troy, 45 right now in Dothan, 46 Ozark, 44 Geneva, Enterprise, and Abbeville, 52 in Donaldsonville, and 50 in Destin. This just means that folks going out for Friday night football playoff games around the Wiregrass, it is going to be very, very cold. Winds are starting to die down. That's one good thing about high pressure basically settling right over top of us. It is going to be a little colder, but the winds will die down by tonight. We'll still just have a breath of wind late tonight and during the overnight hours. You see a clear sky for us this afternoon, bright, beautiful sunshine, but ineffective sunshine. Didn't do too much to warm us up at all today. Temperatures now around the Gulf Coast, 40s and 50s. You got to go all the way down into South Florida to find temperatures in the 70s and 80s. Even in Central Florida, folks are in the 50s and 60s. So a lot of cold air down there. High pressure off to our north and west, funneling in that colder air. But this little bubble of high pressure will start to settle right over top of us. That will decrease our winds and actually bring a colder air mass right on top of us for early tomorrow morning. That's why I think temperatures will be 2 or 3 degrees colder tomorrow morning than they were this morning. So more spots in the 20s for tomorrow. The Futurecast shows not a whole lot. All clear for us tonight into tomorrow. The clear sky and the calm wind will give us the chance to cool down very quickly. A lot of sunshine for Saturday, but again, ineffective sunshine. Not going to warm up too far, about 15 degrees below average. All right, low temperatures tomorrow. I said we're going to have a handful of 20s. I think that's the case. 27 Enterprise, 28 Ozark, 29 in Abbeville. I even think Dothan gets down into the 20s, 29 most likely, and even cold in the Florida Panhandle. Want to look at the Futurecast over the next 48 hours. By Sunday, a big trough develops in the midsection of the country. That means a lot of moisture back into the Gulf of Mexico and into the Wiregrass, and cold, cold air, even colder than this cold shot, comes in for midweek next week and last until Thursday. That 5-day forecast, a mixed bag of weather for you. Cold for Saturday, warming up though quickly on Sunday and Monday as more moisture comes into the air, and that's when we'll have those rain chances. But then very cold Tuesday and Wednesday, 32 and 24 the forecast for Wednesday. We're still 5 days out, so that could change obviously, but still a very, very chilly forecast for us next week.
And I like your term ineffective sunshine, because even though it's there, it's not really warming anything up.
Not doing anything today.
All right, thanks so much.
You're welcome.
New research suggests you shouldn't smoke while driving. Details on that coming up.
And if you did not get a good night's sleep last night, well, you're not alone. We're looking at some possible reasons why in For Your Health. In today's For Your Health, smoking in your car can increase your passenger's risk of cancer. California researchers exposed backseat passengers to 3 cigarettes smoked in an hour with partially open windows. They found even brief exposure increases the level of toxins past acceptable levels. Getting enough sleep has become one of the most difficult things to do in modern society, and it's not just that many of us are busy with work, school, and family life. Screen time is also having an impact on bedtime. Jim Morelli explains.
Seems like Shelley Halchuk can do it all, except for one thing.
The one thing I can't do is sleep.
Experts say Halchuk is one of the millions of Americans who don't get enough sleep.
I like to get 8. but I actually only get about 4 or 5.
The problem is so pervasive, the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention considers insufficient sleep a public health epidemic, one that can have surprising consequences on your health.
It is pretty clear that not getting enough sleep on a nightly basis can lead to health problems.
Health problems such as hypertension, heart attack, stroke, diminished blood sugar control, possibly leading to diabetes, weight gain, anxiety, and depression. So how much sleep do we need? The National Sleep Foundation says children need between 9 and 10 hours of sleep each night, adults 7 to 8. So how can we get more sleep? First, watch the caffeine intake, none after 1 or 2 p.m. Second, take time before bed to wind down. And third, stop the screen time well before bedtime. And finally, Dr. Kirsch says, start looking at sleep for what it is, as important to our good health as exercise and proper nutrition. In Boston, Massachusetts, Jim Morelli for CNN.
Did you get enough sleep?
I did not. I never do because I stay on my phone and I'm on Facebook. And so just put it away. Just get your Z's.
That's social media.
Yeah.
I tell you, get you every time. Nate's back with final check on weather in just a moment.
And a Wiregrass teen realizes a lifelong dream. Her story after the break.
Coming up on WRGX News at 5:30, team coverage on the termination of Tim Wilder. What he had to say after the school board made its decision. Plus, what fire officials are saying about a deadly fire from last night. I'm Catrice Nolan. Those stories and more when you join me and Kevin Presley for WRGX News at 5:30. Nate?
Thanks a lot. The details on the freeze warning tonight goes through 7 a.m. Make sure you bring in your outdoor pets, cover up those sensitive plants. Won't be cold enough for the pipes to freeze, but just strip them if you want to. Peace of mind just in case.
All right. Well, finally, an Enterprise teenager's dream of finding a forever home was realized today. 18-year-old Jennifer Norman was adopted by a Tennessee family.
Jennifer has been in and out of foster care her entire life. She chose to make her adoption public to let folks know November is Adoption Awareness Month.
I mean, it wouldn't make any difference any other time of the year. Last year for Christmas, all I asked for was a family, and this year I get that.
That's wonderful.
That is really, really
Isn't that
great.
great? You're tearing up.
I am. It doesn't take much.
It doesn't take much to get you through that, does it? Well, we wish her the best, that's for sure. That's News 4 at 5. Thanks for being here with us.
We'll see you back here at 6 o'clock.